President of the Senate, Akpabio, has raised alarm over the escalating cost of food and the growing threats of hunger across Nigeria. Senator Akpabio called for urgent coordinated national action to avert a deepening food crisis. Akpabio, who made the comments as the Senate resumed following the Christmas and New Year recess, warned that rising food prices and hunger now pose a grave challenge to national stability and the well-being of citizens, citing a recent United Nations projection that up to 35 million Nigerians could face hunger this year. It described the situation as a national emergency requiring immediate legislative, executive and societal response. Rise News analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us now to share his thoughts on Senator Akpabio's fears, as well as look at what measures may be needed to address the soaring food prices and guarantee food security. Mr. Sobowale, always a pleasure.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure of being here.
Good. So specifically, what urgent national action will be needed for inflation on food prices, you think? And how proactive has the Senate been on this matter?
Okay. What Akpabio said was far more and beyond food insecurity. You know, they have just resumed. And what he said, I will elaborate on that. He was admonishing his colleagues that they are in the final stretch and that they should strive to leave a legacy that they have not delivered. You get me? That it is time now to make laws that will put food on the table, make life secure for people, and re-examine what they have contributed to the state of the Nigerian nation so far. It's a very serious talk. Although he has a cavalier way of doing things. After all that, they took a recess because one of them died and they went away. But you see, he was calling for action and urgency, that they do not have time on their side, that Nigerians are hungry and angry, and they need to make legislation to themselves and the executive to make life better for Nigerians. Maybe he has been listening to somebody here. On the urgency, on the urgency required. You know, I keep on telling you, governance is a continuum. It's not a sprint. Yeah. That's what this man is responding to you, honestly. That's what he's telling his colleagues. That time, tempus fugit. Time is running out. I have 1 year, 5 months to fulfill the obligation and the confidence and trust of people who put you here to put food on the table, to make life, and that you have not delivered, literally. That's what he's saying.
Indeed, Mr. Sobowale.
Yes. So don't let us hamper on, dwell on food alone. He said more than that. Yeah. Affordability, yes, but he said a lot.
Of course, and thank you for highlighting that, of course. Mr. Sobowale, barely a week ago, we saw the senator that represents Edo North, Adams Oshiomhole, saying that Nigerians are complaining that food is too cheap. I was having a conversation with my colleague, and I was wondering which part of Nigeria he was talking about. Now, 1 week later, we're seeing the Senate president lamenting about the food security and the larger picture, like you rightly said. But some are likening him to an arsonist complaining about the fire, saying that it's policies and budgets that were approved by the Senate that have led us or have contributed to where we are today. So is there going to be an admission from the Senate that they approved policies that got us where we are?
Look, that is what I'm trying to tell you. Maybe for once he has listened to you. It's an admission of failure. But it's trying to urge his colleagues that they still have some time left. They still have some time left, 1 year and 5 months. Yeah. See, I don't want to call it admission of failure. I will call it pragmatism and being man enough to know that they have not delivered. Because you don't need to rub salt into an open wound. But it's an admission, if that suits you, it's an admission of guilt. And luckily for him, you can't send them to perdition. Say they still have time to make amends. Get me? You see, if somebody regrets inefficiency, or lack of leadership and all those failures he has laid at the doorstep of himself and his governance, let us commend them. And let us give them second out that in the last stretch, maybe 200 meters, 100 meters, they will deliver.
I say we should commend them. Should we not pour that salt? Should we not pour that salt in the wound very well so that it puts them under pressure to go back on the policies that have led us to where we are? Because at the end of the day, Nigerians still pay the ultimate price. So maybe we've been too magnanimous.
You cannot pour. See, you have to be welfaristic and merciful. You cannot pour salt on open wound. All you will do is wait till 2027 and eject them out of office in the electoral process. Yes.
In spite of the figures that say that 35 million Nigerians will be...
The United Nations have always given prognosis of the end of the Nigerian nation, that poverty will kill all of us. They've been saying it every year. IMF every year. And they've been pouring money into this place, and some people have been siphoning the money. So, you cannot lose patience with governance.
Why?
You cannot, because it's not done. Thank God you are not a politician.
Mr. Sobowale,
you cannot lose patience in governance. Criticize government.
Yeah.
But you cannot lose
patience if we're not seeing outcomes.
You want to lose patience. You know, we discussed school yesterday.
Yes,
you want
we
to mount your I will not be part of it.
I never said, am I? What school?
All right, we're talking about insecurity and it's still thriving in the north, especially where you have large farms for cash crops.
That's right. That's about food insecurity.
Yes.
What I'm trying to tell you is larger than that.
Okay.
On food insecurity, see, the reasons are obvious. The north supplies food to the south, literally, and before they were doing subsistence farming. But later, big companies bought land, farmlands, mechanized farmlands, but insecurity stopped them. Then there is the issue of climatology too. You remember the Lagdo Dam? When it comes to September now, they will be alerting us that will flood people. But we are supposed to have built a buffer dam here in Nigeria to stem the tide of the flow of the dam from the Garwa River. We're supposed to have built one like that in Hausa or something like that for almost 38 years now. We have not done it. So we know our problems. Incidentally, in spite of our prognosis, our problem is to analyze issues, not to overthrow government. Our problem is to bring what we are saying to their fore. And if, for once, Akpabio can be, how do I feel, magnanimous enough to admit, don't look askance, can be magnanimous enough to admit.
Maybe we should look beyond magnanimity at that stage.
He has sounded this alarm, he has carried the trumpet, and he has sounded the alarm. What is the immediate action? We have not seen anything about emergency import food waivers, no agricultural subsidies, nothing about tackling insecurity affecting farmers. So let's talk about steps. We already know what the issues are. What is the solution?
This man has admitted failure.
So now that he has confessed, where is the action?
I'm not president of the Senate. I'm trying to make an explanation that give him some breathing space. He admits that they have time. 1 year. Let us pray that they can undo all the shortcomings he has put on the table. You get me? I'm not saying we should carry him shoulder high for admitting failure, but let us be pragmatic enough that he knows they have not scored an A on this issue, that they have probably scored a D. Let's be understanding. What else?
All right, Mr. Sobowale, we're still a consuming nation. We still import much of our food, even the basic items we can actually manufacture here. So there's a problem in that direction as well. And when it comes to oversight functions, you would think to a large extent they'll be more proactive in areas like that. When they're talking about the issue of insecurity, how strong are our laws in apprehending these so-called militants, terrorists, when we're still having states thinking about amnesty for such terrorists, and the National Assembly hasn't been too vocal on that as well. So you have a gambit of all these scenarios, and then you're talking about giving them some kind of breathing room, as it were.
So they have failed on all fronts.
Okay, and it's not that easy to vote them out when it comes to all the prosperity at the moment.
That's what he has said. So what do you do to them?
All right.
You ask them, We give them benefit of doubt.
But Mr. Sobowale, in 30 seconds, please.
Yes.
Now that we've seen the quality of the people that represent Nigerians, from the Adams Oshiomhole to the Senate President, is it time for us to go back to the drawing board on how we select these people that supposedly represent us but land us in more hot water when
you see, people deserve the government they have. And you are not a Japanese person. You live in Nigeria. You see, when we do election, they will elect the same set of people. And that's another part of the problem. I have said it here several times, that we have, you see, the British colonized us. But after they left since 1960, an hybrid of a ruling class made up of the army and the army in uniform and the army in Agbada have taken over and have colonizing us. In a class, in a political class of sorts, such that when you have elections, the same set of people are elected. People have cornered democracy. We don't have clean elections. That will lead you to a problem. We don't have clean elections. So you have the same set of people perpetuating themselves in power, leaving room for you to be constantly angry with how they manage the economy and the polity. But if we still practice democracy, we still go to the polls to elect them or to eject them. The ball is in the court of the electorate. That's democracy.
Very good, Mr. Dayo Sobowale, Arise News analyst. Would like to thank you very much. We'll have to end on that note.